Hi, this is Tony. Welcome to part 5 of episode 2 of our Deconstructing a Mix series here. So today we're going to be looking at how the drums were mixed for this particular song. The name of the track is called Dead Kings. And so let's dive right into it here. So I've already got the drums pulled up, as you can see. So we're going to take a look at everything that we've done here. Now these are pretty nicely recorded. I can't remember exactly what kind of preamps and mics were used. And I actually might say a little bit of the information here. AKG, D12s, Audio-Technica's ATM 250 DEDs. So you have some condenser mics, Royer. There's a Royer on the hi-hat, AKG 414. Don't think those are XLS2s. I think those were BULSs for the AKGs here for the toms, which as you can see are muted. We didn't use them actually in the mix. Sennheiser MD421 for the low tom, of course, very classic choice for toms. Royer 122. It does not say what other mics were used on the other parts of the drum kit, and in fact I think there's more drum mics, or rather more drum tracks, but they were muted. So these were nicely recorded, very well recorded. Trying to remember the name of the drummer. Jared Apuzzo, I think, was the name of the drummer, if I remember correctly. Manhattan based. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. So you can see here very little automation, and also as you can see here very little processing, or rather very little automation on the VCAs for the, or rather I should say on the drum VCA. And you can also see here there's not a lot of processing going on. Yeah, there's some tracks that have a bunch of stuff going on, but for the most part I guess I just have the NLS channel and then the SSL channel strip here, or maybe some compression going on here. Not a lot going on otherwise compared to other tracks. That's what happens when you record something really well. So people ask me about what to get. I say start with the source. Get the best equipment you have for recording. It'll make your life a lot easier when you're mixing. And of course, when you're mixing, try to commit a little bit of the sound to tape. So a little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ as needed, etc. Makes life a lot easier. So let's take a look here. So with the drums, I'm just going to play the drums for you in and out of context. You also see here there's some parallel processing. So we have a drum crush bus, and then we also have tape as well, tape saturation. So let's hear it just by itself. So let's hear the chorus, or the verse. So we have all this going on here. Let's go to the effects unit, or rather the effects buses for the drums. Probably have a lot more going on than I should. There's definitely a lot more going on, I think, than there should be, but kind of how it got mixed. They're probably wondering why there's delay, 2 delays, and then 2 reverbs, and then a drum imager, or rather stereo imaging on this. So we'll get to that in a moment. So, all right, let's take a look at everything one by one here. And also we're going to play the drums in context too. So let's see here. Nice reverb tail there for the guitar. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're doing. Again, NLS channel. We're using the Neve emulation on the Waves NLS channel. So apparently I really like that compared to the SSL and the API emulation. A little bit of drive going on there. SSL channel here. Let's see what happens with this kick drum. Actually, there we go. Now the kick drum by itself, not quite the way I want it to sound, so that's why it's blended with other instruments, or rather other tracks here. So I'm willing to bet you the overhead mic and then the room mic play a role in this. Hear the difference? Let's pick up the hood. Let's activate the floor tom. Sounds a little phasey, doesn't it? So it's getting it from somewhere else, but sounds different. right? When you start to blend all those tracks together. So, all right, let's go back here. What are we doing with the SSL? So what are we doing here? It's got about 14 dB of compression if I bypass the EQ. So I've added some top end to the kick. If I just eliminate this, let's see what happens. So you hear more of the higher frequencies from the kick drum, which you kind of need, I would say, to make it stick out a lot, make it stick out a little bit more. You're thinking of the Fletcher-Munson curve. If you're not familiar with the Fletcher-Munson curve, I'll show you. So the Fletcher-Munson curve says low frequencies. Oh, that's not the one I want. Sorry. This is the one I want. Low frequencies, you need a lot of to hear it. In the mid-range, you don't need a lot. And then high-end frequencies, somewhere in the middle, right? So the kick drum, right, I'm trying to emphasize more of these here. A little bit more of these here so you can hear it a little bit. So if I go back, and then I'm just gonna stop annotating the screen, right? Let's just see what happens in context with the rest of the drums. So let me do this again. So now the kick drum has some definition. So you're probably thinking, Tony, that's really wacky. Why on earth are you boosting, at 9.7K? And there you go. It gives a little bit of definition, right? So listen to the tail end of the kick, especially. Well, as much as you can of it, because it's pretty punchy. Now I'm going to boost it up. You hear that, right? So what else am I doing here? So I'm really boosting the heck out of that kick drum, or at about 9.7K, a little bit more definition, a little bit more life to it. And then here, about an 8 dB boost in the mid-range. Interesting. Wide bell. And then here, I'm using the E channel. I'm boosting the heck out of what is that? 60 hertz. Let's see what happens if I just completely not boost it at all. Let's see what happens to the kick drum. Sounds a little wimpy. Sounds thin. Yeah. So give this some more meat on there. All right, so we have that. Okay. Now let's look at the snare. The snare drum, I'm just being cognizant of how much time is also running this video. I love the distressor on snare drum. Absolutely love it. You will see me using FG stress almost every single time there's a snare track. I've worked with the hardware units. I love the hardware units. And when Slate came out with the FG stress, I said, okay, I'm gonna get it. So. But if you're on the fence about getting a Slate subscription, I don't work for them, but they got a lot of nice plugins, and FG Stress is, to me, worth the amount of money paid per month, along with a couple other plugins here and there. That alone is more than well worth it. So I would suggest you get the FG Stress either standalone or as part of the subscription with Slate. Again, I don't work for them. They don't pay me to say that. I just love how great it sounds. Let's hear the snare here. Let's hear the snare drums in context. Yes, I have a group for everything. So I'm going to just solo, whoops, there we go, solo. Let me do this again. Okay, there we go. Analyze channel, the API console emulation. Let's see what happens if I turn this off. Sounds horrible. Sounds so horrible. Right? Awful. Now, how beautiful is that? How awesome is that? Right? So, look, the other snare, I didn't feel like it needed any EQ on it, right? This snare, I felt like it needed some EQ. Not a lot, right? What, 2 dB? Yeah, 2.3 dB here, like 1.3 dB there, right? Again, it's so important to get the recording to sound good before you go to mixing, right? Let's see what else we have here. So we have, I think some of the toms. I have the hi-hat track. Nothing is really going on too much there. The mid and the high toms I decided I didn't need. Let's go to the floor tom here. Floor tom was definitely tricky. I used the SSL emulation. Yeah, I mean, SSL channel. Here I'm boosting the heck out of the low end. Let's go to the part where there's really a lot of stuff going on. So a ton of compression. There's a gate on there as well. The high end is being boosted. I'm going to mute the high end. Oh, what does that sound like in context? Let's hear that. Yeah. So anyways, that's what that sounds like. It sounds thin without it. Sounds a little bit beefier with it. Yeah, it's just to make it poke out. So low end is boosted way up. But then here at about 200 hertz, the low mids, we cut out a lot. And then we boost the high end. And we even boost up the kind of the mids here. So that's just to add bottom to it. That's all. So that's mainly what's going on here when mixed in context. A lot of compression, as you can see. And then what else is going on here? So on overheads, it's not uncommon. I will have the Monster plugin put in here. It's like 1176 on British. Hear that? Now without it. SSL channel. Yep. Had issues with the cymbals, so as you can see, that's why I have that linear phase EQ. Nice thing about linear phase EQ makes it sound like you just turn the volume down a bit. So not much exciting going on here. So let's go take a look at what we're doing with parallel processing. So I have a drum crush bus. Turn that off. Sounds boring as all heck. 1176 in blue mode, bluey. I like the way it sounds, so it makes sense to me. Horrible. Did I change something in the mix? I feel like I changed something accidentally in the mix. I hope I didn't do that. All right, it's not the way I remember it sounding. Let's listen to the tape. Yeah, that cymbal sounds way brighter than I remember it, so I must have accidentally hit something in the mix, but okay. Some tape saturation here. And then here we have this reverb. I'll play something for you. So I'm gonna go here. And she's one for sure. So that's just to make the snare kind of last a little bit longer, ring a little bit longer. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. There will be more videos to come down the pike, and I will see you next time.